I'm sorry, Patrick McHale. I owe you an apology. I owe your team an apology. I owe Cartoon Network an apology. I owe everybody a fan of what I'm about to talk about. I give you all an apology. I'm sorry I didn't give your show a chance last year. If I had opened my eyes when it had aired a year ago from today, maybe I would have felt what I felt last week. Because it opened my eyes to realize I can't judge a book by its cover. Which has already opened my eyes a lot of times, but being this the recent thing that I've judged just by looking at the trailers and the posters, I feel I owe you an apology. This past October was the first of a lot of things for me that I didn't imagine me watching or doing back in January. It was the first time I actually physically sat down and watched the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown special. It was the first time I didn't really do anything on Halloween besides stay at home and watch a whole bunch of Halloween reruns and give out candy to kids. It was the first time I was in my costume only for a few seconds and didn't wear it around as like I wanted to. And it was the first time I didn't see the Fairly OddParents Halloween special. I'd like to say it was the first time I saw the Invader Zim Halloween special, but that's a lie because I saw it earlier today, which is November 1st that I'm filming this. But it was also a first for me watching a miniseries that came out last year on Cartoon Network called Over the Garden Wall. Wow, was this not what I expected, and was even better than what I thought it was. I had no plans on watching Over the Garden Wall, like I said in the beginning. When I first saw the trailers last year, when it premiered exactly a year ago for the 5 nights it was on, you know, I looked at it and I was like, I don't know about it. And then when it was coming up again, I saw trailers for it again because it was replaying on Halloween and the week of Halloween. And then my friend, who will stay nameless, but he probably knows who he is if he watches this. My friend came over to me and a few of other my friends at lunch, and he was talking about it, and what he was telling me was interesting about it. And so, unfortunately, I couldn't find it on Netflix, but I could have sworn I saw it on Netflix, and I guess Netflix took it down, because Netflix has to be that way. They put something up, and then when I want to watch something, it takes it down. So, thanks. You gonna take down Lab Rats next? Unfortunately, Over the Garden Wall I could not find on Netflix, but I did see on my guide it was playing for like 2 hours on Cartoon Network on Halloween night. And then, what was even better, so this way I didn't have to sit through the whole 2 hours, I saw all 10 chapters individually every night. So like chapter 1 and 2 were Monday, chapter 3, 4 were Tuesday, and so on all the way to the Friday night. And it was probably one of the coolest things that I think I might have missed out on last year that I'm happy I saw. For those who don't know what Over the Garden Wall is, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, last year obviously Cartoon Network put out a mini-series, and it's a mini-series, a 10-part mini-series, shrunken into like 10-minute episodes like a normal cartoon on Cartoon Network. And it tells the story of these 2 kids named Wirt and Greg, and they get lost in the woods after, it's actually not revealed how they got in the woods until episode 9, which is the episode right before the end of the series. But But yeah, it's not until episode 9 where we find everything out that Greg and Wart were, you know, they were running from, I think, the cops. I'm pretty sure it was. It was Halloween night, and I know there was a little tape recording thing. There was some kind of record music thing Wart made for his love interest, who I can't remember the name, but the two then follow those kind of people into they follow a whole bunch of people into the graveyard where they get caught by the cops, and they go running and they jump over a wall and they get lost in the woods. And throughout the whole series, they try to find their way out of the woods, though they keep kind of failing. In the first episode, they run into some guy. I think he's the lantern guy. They run into a woodsman who's carrying a lantern and stuff. I should also probably mention while looking at this, they're not actually they're brothers, but they're half brothers, Wart and Greg, because I guess you know, their family, stepmom, stepdad. So they're stepbrothers, I guess, but here it says half brothers. So the first episode, they run into a woodsman who tells them, who warns them about a beast. And I'm not 100%, I didn't follow up 100% on what the beast's plan was. I think he turns people into, like, trees and stuff. But that's, like, the whole arc throughout Over the Garden Wall. There's just this beast that's after the two kids. And there's also a blue jay named Beatrice, who is later revealed to actually be a girl. And that's kind of why she speaks throughout the series. She was a human girl, and I guess her family and her angered a witch, and they all were turned into blue jays. That's another plot I didn't fully understand. But I do know they were turned into blue jays by a witch, I think. But yeah, throughout the whole series, through these 10 episodes, Wart, Greg, Greg's frog, a rock that they hold on to, and Beatrice, they all try to find their way out. They run into some. Each one is different. Each part is different, but some characters keep showing up. Like the woodsman shows up in about, like, I want to say half of all of the episodes, and the beast is like the main antagonist of it. But in the second episode, they go into like a field, like a village populated by skeletons who wear pumpkins as like flesh, and then there's like a ship with frogs, and there's a school of animals, and the one thing I remembered my friend telling me about Over the Garden Wall is that when you keep watching it, it's just gonna get weirder. Which it does. Like, the first episode is calm, the second episode is calm, third episode you start getting a little weird, and it isn't until you're in the halfway point where it's like, alright, this is a little freaky now, especially if you get up to episode 6, I believe it is. I'm pretty sure it's episode 6, because at the end of episode 6, that's where it just gets really weird with Beatrice, having a little plan of handing over Greg and Wart, so this way she could be like human again, because that person needs little kid slaves, something like that, and that was weird. But it just gets weirder, and I think what was scary was you know, episode 8 was a little weird near the end, because that's all just like Greg's dream, because that's the part where it's like they're dreaming now. And then episode 10, the final episode, that was weird. But it was also sad, and it ended Over the Garden Wall, obviously. Episode 9 wasn't that weird because it was setting up the story, something that you'd expect to see in episode 1, but they did it the second to last episode. But yeah, so that's it, Over the Garden Wall. I really liked it, you know. I shouldn't have judged it in the first place. If I can go back in time and tell my little self, sit down and actually watch this, I think I actually gave it a chance the first episode, and then after like 5 minutes I shut it off because I didn't understand what the hell was going on. Luckily I was able to catch it this year Luckily, my friend told me about it, and I'm glad he told me about it. I think Over the Garden Wall is really awesome. Someone tells me they should do like a sequel, but I don't think they should. For some reason, I have that feeling that there's going to be a sequel because of the success it did. Because this really did a success, Over the Garden Wall. In fact, Cartoon Network's saying that it's an autumn classic, which it kind of is. It's like a mixture of like, it's like the perfect thing to watch around this time of year where it's fall, and also like Halloween, because it is creepy to be a Halloween special, but it's cute to be a fall special. So you could look at it like any other way, really. But that's really it on what I think of Over the Garden Wall. I think it's really awesome. I'm sorry I missed it last year, and I'm sorry I judged it. So that's what I think about Over the Garden Wall, but now I want to hear what you people think, if you've ever seen it. Have you seen Over the Garden Wall? If so, why not? Do you agree or disagree with anything that I said in this video? Tell me in the comments, and also leave me your suggestions for whatever movie, TV show, or random thing you want me to talk about next. Thanks for watching The Wild Review. I'm The Wild Reviewer, and you just saw me review a thing.